For some couples, trying to conceive is not as easy as 1, 2, 3. Ovulation schedules, health complications, and complicated sex lives all play a part in making it a bit more difficult than others. Join us today as we share experiences on methods of conception.
Parenting. Let's talk about this.
Being a parent is about godliness. I've so much of myself through parenting.
There is no formula of raising a child.
Hello, this is Pansy on the left.
I think having a good support structure makes it all worth it.
Dumelang baheso lebitso ke Karabo Mutsiri, here to bring you another episode of Ask a Parent, the show about all things parenting, whether it be about how to bring sexy back after childbirth or understanding the dynamics of parenting or child loss. This is the platform for you. Today, we are joined by our guest gynecologist and obstetrician. That word does not roll off your tongue, can't be just me. Dr. Mukai, and we are also joined by Unolutando Malindi. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. So, Doctor, I'm going to dive right in. What options are available for me, and what do we normally miss when we're trying to start a family?
Now, to start a family, one has to be healthy. And healthy, there are many aspects of health that come into play before one can be able to can fall pregnant and have a child. There has to be the physical health. There has to be mainly absence of any medical issues. So one should have had that checked during their routine checkup. And then coming to the gynecological aspect, the system that is going to carry the baby has to be working normal. The uterus has to be normal, the tubes have to be working okay, the ovaries have to be working functionally right. And an aspect that we never look into is the emotional well-being. The mental state has to be there, it has to be functioning well.
Yeah.
So when all those things are working perfectly well, having a child becomes relatively easy.
So you have to be healthy holistically.
You have to be healthy holistically. That is correct, Kara. And when that happens, when one is healthy holistically, then falling pregnant becomes a natural process.
So I think by just that point alone, what we then get wrong is just the first step of actually going to the doctor and saying, listen, I want to start a family. Yeah. Am I healthy? Because we just think it's as easy as, having sex and just waiting to get pregnant. But when you don't know if am I healthy, am I not, then it becomes a bit more complicated by what you're saying.
That is correct. Fortunately, most people are healthy, and therefore one tends to take it for granted that falling pregnant is easy. Yet there are many things that have to be in place, just as the old saying goes, all the stars have to be aligning for one to be able to fall pregnant. Then it becomes easy.
Okay. Mpumi, can you share your experience? So you don't have any children yet, and this is what you're working towards right now. This is the journey that you're on right now. Yeah. How's your experience been? What have been some of the learnings that you've come across in this journey?
Okay. So we've been trying for quite some time. I'm not sure how long, because I wasn't tracking my ovulation as often as I should. Yes. But it's been, I think, like the doctor mentioned, you have to be healthy holistically. So what I then decided to do, when my husband and I decided, okay, babe, we're doing this, then I went to the doctor and I did a full checkup. So I think for me, it's obviously challenging, because then you think, like you said, it's not that easy. I always thought falling pregnant is as easy as you just have sex and then boom, babies. But it doesn't happen like that. Yeah, so I've learned that there's things that you need to know, things that you need to follow for that process to happen. So yeah.
Okay. Doctor, how important is it to track your ovulation?
To give you context, when out of 28 days, from the first day of your period to the next day of the next period, a woman has a window period of 2 to 3 days in which to fall pregnant. The other 25 days,
just
you can't fall pregnant.
Sure.
Now, based on that, it's therefore important to know be slightly academic and know which days those are. It's difficult to know which days those are exactly, but on average, if one is able to track their ovulation, even if you don't get it once, you may get it a second time, or you may get it a third time. So it is important to track your ovulation.
So when would you advise then it's the best time to actually have sex in order to fall pregnant?
Ovulation normally occurs from the first day of your period, on average.
Okay.
And there's no human being who is average. Everybody is special. So on average is the 14th day from the first day of your period. So from the first day of your period, you count 14 days. So 14 days, take or give 3 days.
Okay.
On average, that is when the egg pops out the ovum, and that is when you're fertile.
So I think the general misconception is that right after your period, that's when you're hot. Because that's when I think...
Or before.
Yes,
even before.
right before.
So I thought before.
That is, and because of those misconceptions, people are busy shooting blanks when they're not fertile. Therefore, you can try that way, and you can take months before you can fall.
Yeah, because you're just shooting at the wrong time.
Correct, shooting at the wrong time.
Sure. So I think now we're having the conversation about when to have sex. I think just the sex part plays such a big role, because then we start having sex very systematically to say, okay, this is the time we're supposed to be having sex because we just want to conceive, right? Do you feel like it kind of takes the excitement out of having sex? Because usually we just use it to bond as a couple, but now when we start using it just to conceive, does it just take the excitement out of it? Now you've got your legs up in the air and he just wants to cuddle, you know, does it take the excitement out of it?
Yeah, it really does, because it feels like it's a project. Project make a baby. Yeah, so there's no excitement, there's no you know, that feeling of I love my person, I want to make love to them. No, there isn't, because all you're thinking about is I want to have a baby, I want to have a baby. When you come, I want to have a baby, or when he comes, I want to have a baby. And you want to get it right, like you're saying, you have to keep your legs up, all those things that they tell you. So it's not even fun, it's not exciting, it's just let's make a baby. So project make a baby.
Doctor, you've been doing this for a very long time. How do we balance the two? How do we balance having sex just for the affection and the bonding and still trying to conceive at the same time? Is it even possible?
It is possible. It's about communication. Unfortunately, many people are not taught how to communicate what the importance of sex is in a relationship. So sex is considered to have two functions. It's a function for recreation, where based on that, there is bonding, there is enjoyment. In fact, some people put sex as one of the fifth or the fourth basic necessities of a person. You know, just like oxygen, the shelter.
Oh, it's not the first?
No, it's not.
It depends on which classification.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have that, that is for recreation. And then there is procreation. So it is much, when one is trying to have a baby, consider it as a form of recreation. And then you will find that procreation will follow. And I know there are people who only have sex because they want to have a baby. So they do the timing, and they have an app, for example.
Yes.
And they use those 2 days. If nothing, then they wait for the next one, and they may find they don't ovulate at that particular time.
Okay.
So as you say, as Pube said, if you're going to have sex as a project of having a baby, you probably get frustrated because every time you see your period, it's like, we didn't succeed.
Disappointment,
And then you sit and wait for the ovulation, which you may or may not get right. In a case like that, it could take you a long time. So you just have sex for recreation. And then, of course, in the back of your mind, you know that a baby will come.
Yes.
And on average, we say that a healthy couple will fall pregnant if they have what we call as regular sexual intercourse for anything from 3 to 6 months. Regular sexual intercourse means probably having sex 2 to 3 times a week on average.
Okay.
So I think the beauty of calculating or tracking your ovulation is that if you know these are the 3 days that I'm hot, then every other time I can have it for recreation.
Yeah.
Rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
just waiting, all the time you're thinking you're just doing it for the sake of procreation, but this is the only time I can have it for procreation, but every other time I can actually have it for recreation. So I think just tracking your ovulation properly would probably play quite an important role. You have a question?
I just want to ask, how reliable are these apps that we use for tracking ovulation? I know there's what's that?
I've never used one.
No, but there's a lot of tools that you can use to track your ovulation, and I'm using an app. So how reliable is it?
Very good question. Technology is making life easier and easier. 10 years ago, there were no apps. So those are standardized calculations on when you may ovulate based on an average person. And there's nobody who's average.
Okay.
Everybody was created differently.
How important is the mental and emotional health? How have you seen that plays also a very pivotal role in the ability of a woman and a man to procreate?
According to the World Health Organization, you can be physically healthy, you are completely absent of any disease that can be picked up. But if mentally you are not healthy, you are not healthy. So the mental aspect is important, because one never really realizes that even ovulation is controlled from a gland in the brain called the hypothalamus.
Okay.
It controls when you ovulate. And if that gland is affected by stress, what we call as the higher centers, if it's affected by stress, you may actually not ovulate.
Sure.
The mental aspect in this kitchen of trying to make a baby is very, very important.
Sure. When we discuss the subject of fertility, it's mostly the woman that comes up in the conversation, that there's probably something wrong with you. Do you find that it becomes a bit more difficult for the man to say, actually, let me go get myself checked out. Maybe I'm the one with the low sperm count. Do you see that happening a lot more often now? How do you go around having those conversations with your patients, and what's the reception usually from the man?
I normally start this discussion from a woman does not fall pregnant by going to the supermarket and falling pregnant.
Yes.
If it was that easy, then the man doesn't come into the picture. It takes two to tango.
Yes.
And according to statistics, unfortunately it's a woman who falls pregnant, not the man. But when it comes to what the problem is in, when one is trying to fall pregnant, we find that almost 45% of instances where women are not falling pregnant, it is the male factor. Where there's an issue of the male factor that comes into play. Unfortunately, society doesn't know that, because the man doesn't fall pregnant. And therefore, when a couple comes to see me, or when a woman comes to see me, I will examine her, but I always emphasize to her that she could be perfectly okay, and she's just not getting a healthy sperm that is going to make her pregnant.
Sure.
And the man has to deliver a healthy sperm.
Yes.
And there's a lot of information that people don't know.
Yeah.
Men produce 500 million sperms. Unfortunately, out of those, 95% of them are headless.
Sure.
They can't even be able to swim. There are men who produce 500 million sperms, all of them are completely useless.
Sure. I think the subject is actually more complicated than we thought, because I also just learned a lot from this very conversation, because we think it's as easy as just two bodies meeting and boom, there's a baby. Yeah. So I think it's also important to just take a step back and do the research and ask and see medical doctors, just to find out what are my options, am I in good condition? And the holistic health plays a very important part. Mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, and physically healthy. So thank you so much for joining us today. We would really like to hear your experiences on conception. Has it been an easy process for you? Has it been a hard one? Please comment down below. Our handles are also down below on the screen. So please follow us on AskAParent_ZA, and please subscribe so that you can get more episodes of Ask a Parent. Thank you so much for joining us.